Hi guys, there are two types of evil, smart evil and dumb. The latter is preferable because it's incompetent and works against its own interest to achieve its goals. While there are certainly a lot of people in the Trump administration who are smart, what we've seen over the last few weeks is a lot of stupid behaviour which works against the president's objectives, that of to make America great again. Over the weekend, something happened that was not shouted about on Trump's Truth Social or broadcasted very loudly by the White House, that of a U-turn on tariffs on certain products. Phones, computers, chips, and some other electronic items. This shows a complete lack of understanding of how the global economy works and a general level of incompetence in the Trump administration. Something Michael R. Strain from the American Enterprise Institute reinforced when he spoke to MSNBC.
Michael, we've just had news, Bloomberg and CNBC both reporting, and I don't really know how this fits into the world because it's guidance that's been issued from the U.S. Customs and Border Protection as of late last night that smartphones and computers and other tech devices and components will be exempted from reciprocal tariffs imposed by President Donald Trump. We're talking about semiconductors, computer chips, phones. What do you make of this?
Well, I think this is just more of the pattern where the administration announces a policy, then receives kind of a dose of reality about what the effects of that policy are going to be, and then walks it back. And this makes it very difficult for businesses to plan. How in the world can you make 5-year plans, 10-year plans as a business if you have no idea what your prices are going to be, what the prices of the parts and components that you need are going to be, if those prices are changing on a week-to-week basis? I think this is also an indication of political reality asserting itself, that the president kind of realizes that if iPhones cost thousands and thousands of dollars, that's going to make him unpopular. Again, we're seeing a problem of competence. We're seeing a problem of competence in planning and executing this policy, and that's spooking businesses and markets.
Trump,
and he's right. The problem here is that Donald Trump has surrounded himself with sycophants, people who will just say, yes, sir, you're completely correct, and will not provide him with advice, real advice. The only advice they seem to be giving him is, yes, you're doing everything wonderfully. Now, it seems probably what happened was the tech bros that are surrounding Trump put pressure on him saying, look, we will not be able to sell our products if we have these huge tariffs applied to them. There was talk of iPhones going from $1,000 to like $4,000 or $5,000 if they had to be produced in the US, or even more than that, and they would not be sellable. So this was, of course, and these are the people who were backing Trump. They appeared at his inauguration. What were they, in the front or second row of the inauguration? The event. So these people are now applying pressure to Trump, saying, look, we need help here. Get rid of these tariffs, otherwise we won't be able to sell our products. The tariffs themselves could work, could bring back manufacturing, but it would have to be something done professionally, something done competently, in the sense that you could announce a policy and say, over the next number of years, what we're going to do is we're going to have tariffs in place, which will force the price of imports up. And what we're going to do is we're going to have an economic strategy, a business strategy to help businesses, to help industry tool up for that, to increase their production, to increase their research and development. We're going to inject huge amounts of cash into research and development, into manufacturing, in order to achieve this goal. We're going to have an impact assessment to see how much these tariffs are going to have an impact on the economy. And then we're going to adjust as we can see that. But our plan for the future is we're going to bring back manufacturing. We're going to impose tariffs on other countries. This should have been what Trump was saying at the beginning, instead of actually implementing the tariffs. Because as was pointed out here by the head of this institute, it creates uncertainty. And business are not against the idea of tariffs. They're not against the idea of taxes per se. They're against instability. If you say to them, we're going to increase taxes or we're going to increase tariffs, it's something they would like to avoid, but it's something they can work with. The worst thing for business is uncertainty. And that's all that Donald Trump represented over the last number of weeks and months, where he's saying, I'm going to impose a tariff, then not impose it, then increase the tariff, then engage in a tit for tat with China. This is the worst thing for business because, as was pointed out, how are you supposed to plan for the future if you can't even plan for tomorrow? You can't plan for 5-10 years if you don't know what's going to happen the following week. So perhaps we're starting to see some cracks appear in the Trump administration. Perhaps we're starting to see a bit of a U-turn on things. But Donald Trump, once again, is not somebody you can deal with. You can pressure him probably from within. But outside, I think countries like China, the European Union, they're going to have to wait and see and hope that some sort of sanity starts to emerge within the administration.